Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're actually going to be talking about Stellar Lumens, or XLM if you will. This is a very exciting asset that I've been talking about for a little bit of time now, because this one is very undervalued at its current levels, and I think that it will continue to look like that until it does have a major breakout. I will also talk about the price chart at the end of this video if you guys do want to stay for that. But overall, when we're talking about the market right now, things look good. Things are, a little just kind of steady, ride up to the top, if you will. But when we look at XLM, right, XLM is doing a little bit of a nice push on the 7-day span, up about 26%. That is ranging here a little bit as it does go down to about 25.87%, but we do see it up about 2.40% on the 1-day span. Nothing too exciting there overall, but we do see that the volume is flowing in, up actually about 68.4%, sitting about almost $5 billion. So this is actually a very, very nice little bit of a nice, volume influx on XLM, and it's probably because of the news lately. Now, obviously, we know about the, partnership with MoneyGram. I made a video about it yesterday, and we're going to be addressing that. We're going to be talking about that in this video. We're also going to be talking about how big of a partnership that actually is. But before we jump into everything, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys do want to get my insightful content, like my exit strategies, all that kind of stuff, you guys can on NCashOfficial.com. This is where all my, trading indicators, all that kind of stuff is included. I also have the Ultimate Trading Bundle Pack. This is for all those crusaders out there, if you will. Any products that get released on the site is all free once you purchase this, but the price of this will continue to go up as more and more products do get released, but those will be included if you did, say for so, purchase it right now for $56. Any new products will be sent to you for free overall. But with that being said, let's talk about Stellar Lumens. Let's talk about XLM. So we do see, of course, Stellar for fintech applications. We already talked about this, right? We've discussed how big Stellar actually is. But when we come down here and we talk about the P2P market, right, that's what they're really addressing. We do see here whether enabling customers in new geographies to convert to their home fiat currency or designing an international peer-to-peer payments flow, the Stellar Anchor network extends the reach of wallet applications to new geographies around the world. Now, of course, they're talking about liquidity. They're talking about liquidity crises, similar to XRP. But the best part about this is that they are partnered with pretty much all the P2P and retail demand companies out there that you could pretty much utilize on a day-to-day basis. For an example, Wire. I utilize Wire on a day-to-day basis as I do deal with a lot of, international and foreign customers throughout my design agency. So we use Wire a lot for, sending, for an example, wire transfers or just ACH transfers, or you could even do debit transfers through Wire. And of course, Stellar is, they're leveraging Stellar as well. Now, of course, we do see a lot of other ones. We see CrossBorder Payments. This is savings and yield in tokenized versions of USD and other fiat currencies. This is P2P transactions and savings account for underbanked, foreign access to U.S. investments, real-time merchant payments via QR code or stablecoins, access to multiple cryptocurrencies. And then, of course, we do see the benefits. Interoperability is a huge thing, as you guys already know. But overall, we do see anchors and available features as well. These are some that are coming soon. This is very interesting, right? But what is the big deal with P2P, and why is the P2P market so, crazy to get into? Well, it's very simple, right? So as we did talk about B2B, we've talked about the B2B sector a lot, but we've also talked about all of the other main sectors in this, game, right? But the P2P payment market, right? This is pretty much everything. We see mobile web payments, near-field communication, SMS/direct carrier billing, and others, payment type, remote and proximity, end user, personal and business, and application, media and entertainment, energy and utilities, healthcare, retail and hospitality, and transportation. This is a huge industry. But how big is it? Well, it's very simple, right? The global P2P payment market size was valued at $1,889.16 billion, or almost roughly about $1.9 trillion in 2020, and is projected to reach about $9 trillion by 2030, growing at a CAGR of about 17.3% from 2021 to 2030. This is huge, right? But we do see P2P transfer or payment is transfer of funds from one person's bank account to another individual's bank account. Of course, they're pretty much giving you that basis, but they're also talking about how big of a demand this actually is, considering the fact of, the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, we do see here, they're actually showing us Bitcoin and they're actually showing us crypto on a P2P payment app on a phone, which is fairly, interesting to see. Now, here we have the P2P payment market by transaction mode, right? We see mobile web payments, we see near field communication, SMS/direct carrier billing, and others. So when we're talking about 2030, look at the increase at which these will increase in value and or transactional data flow. And of course, here's the payment market by payment type, again in a different, little graph, and competitive analysts as well. We do see personal and business. So business and all of this kind of stuff is kind of similar, if you will. Now, again, we also see here the key players operating in the P2P payment industry are Alibaba.com, Apple, Circle International Financial Limited, Google LLC, and a few other ones, of course. We're talking about PayPal, Square, WePay, Wise, which Wise, again, Wise is pretty big, and we also see Zelle. So when we're talking about a lot of these, right? When we're talking about the payments flow of the P2P market, the P2P market is going to grow at exponential rates. And who is going to be prospering into that nice digital age? Well, I do think that XLM has the biggest demand for this. We talk about a lot of things in regards to remittances with Stellar. We talk about money transfer operations. We talk about money transfer in general of cross-border payments. I think Stellar is perfectly positioned to really disrupt this entire scene, especially considering, they have the partnerships to do so, especially considering the, MoneyGram partnership. And you guys might be wondering, well, why is that MoneyGram partnership so huge? Well, it's very, very simple. So first off, we go look at MoneyGram. We look at the banking solutions. First off, check out their overall demand. We offer international and domestic money transfer services with a single point of service platform at approximately 380,000 locations in more than 200 countries and territories. Money order services at more than 40,000 domestic locations to help generate additional revenue, walk-in traffic, and offer a reliable alternative to cash and checks. Okay, so MoneyGram is huge. We've known that MoneyGram was huge, even going back to XRP, but they're so much bigger, though, right? Because we go all the way over to consumer products. Now, here's more retail demand. So we do see we now have digital capabilities in over 70 countries and territories around the world, and the best digital user experience in the industry. We do see here, with more than 380,000 locations, our agent network connects customers around the world with, 200 countries and territories, of course, with human interaction or even our seamless kiosk service. Now, we also see that this is going to grow in order of mobile payments, where we talk about mobile wallets, accounts, and cards. We talk about money transfer as well. The best part about this, right, is that when we're talking about Stellar, first off, let's go to Stellar's homepage. We talk about digital wallets. We talk about digital payments a lot. Check out what Stellar's doing. Global payment app. We also see, asset exchanges. We see, micropayment services. All of this is through a digital app. So when we're talking about Stellar, partnering with MoneyGram, we could say that most of, or I should say all of these customers will be having access to Stellar in some sort of way. But we also see here on-time payments on your customers' terms. Check this out, right? Expedited payments through our high-tech service that allows customers to make same-day, next-day, or 2- and 3-day payments to nearly 13,000 billers, including Capital One, DirecTV, Dish Network, Ford, and many more. Real-time payment notifications, reporting, and transactional or transaction management and customized data feeds. This is very interesting. There's so many use cases that MoneyGram actually has. Now, just imagine if they do leverage the Stellar network like they are going to be doing. This could be great for overall efficiency, scalability, and even just those lower cost fees. Now, we also talk about the cross-border payment flows, right? So now we get into this, okay? The Federal Reserve adopts ISO 20022 format for payments that Ripple is compliant with. Yeah, Ripple's also compliant with it, but guess who else is, right? We go back to this chart here, Interledger Protocol Family and ISO 20022 ecosystem. Look at our lovely friends on here, IOTA, Ripple, Zinfin, Stellar, and Algorand. XLM, Hyperledger Fabric, of course, right? So I understand that Ripple is a huge piece of the pie. Don't get me wrong. I think that Ripple, for what it's worth, is really kind of they're basically looking to work with banks, right? They want to work with banks. They want to do B2B. B2B payments is totally fine. But Stellar is going to have a huge hand in this pot, and I truly do believe that because we look at the overall payments flow of the P2P sector, retail demand, all that kind of juicy stuff that we've been talking about, right? And then we look at this, right? Millions of businesses around the world contribute to nearly $2 trillion in cross-border payments each year. The most common method of U.S. businesses to move funds across borders is SWIFT. Now, we do know that SWIFT actually does 5 trillion transactions a day, which is absolutely massive. Now, we do see here, introduced in 2015, Stellar is an open network for moving value internationally with standard instructions, a more modern and transparent way to make B2B payments like SWIFT. Now, again, Stellar has a lot of partnerships, but they don't have a lot of B2B partnerships. So I don't think that they're going to be the number one choice for B2B. I think, again, when we talk about XRP, partnered with a ton of those financial institutions, 300 plus. Also, they are partnered with 38 of the top 100 banks. I think that they are going to disrupt that scene. But Stellar, working with companies like MoneyGram, I think that Stellar is going to be the number one choice for P2P. I understand a lot of people want them to work with the B2B market, but I just don't think that they will. Okay, and that's just my unbiased opinion. When we look here, though, we do see our Fast, Cheap, and Connected meet Stellar USDC, which is the number one partnership for MoneyGram. We actually see our on-chain foreign exchange available 24/7. These are all of the countries and stuff that they could work with or that they are available in 24/7. Now, here are some of the featured users. Again, when we're talking about Wire, Wire is a leading blockchain payments company that provides wire savings API where fintechs can access yield earnings savings products leveraging Stellar USDC. Finclusive, we also see DSTOQ. A lot of these are leveraging some API services. Again, talking about interoperability. Now, overall, these are the only ones labeled here, but we do see our users, all right? We do see Circle. Circle is huge. We've discussed Circle a lot. Now, when we go to, again, the home page, and we scroll all the way down here, check out the built on Stellar. We now see MoneyGram listed here. The reason why MoneyGram is here, and you could see all the products here, and you could see all of their projects within this. This is all built on Stellar. These are the case studies. I'm sure that they will have the MoneyGram one built on here. But look at this massive ecosystem. This is something to not ignore. This is, you need to look at this, and you need to, do more research if you haven't already pulled the trigger on XLM, especially after the whole MoneyGram thing that barely moved the price, I should add, which is funny to see. This is going to be a huge asset in the P2P sector. This is going to be a lot of retail demand in regards to XLM, and that's why I think that XLM is extremely undervalued. Right? Now, when we're talking about XLM and we're talking about the current price, you might be wondering, well, what is the best price to actually enter in? What is a good price? Well, I've been talking to you guys about this under 30 cents. I've been talking to you guys about it for a very long time. I've actually tweeted about XLM going all the way back as early as before the original move all the way to about 73 cents. I was talking about it back here at around 18 cents as well. It doesn't matter. Entry points right now, look at the current price. First off, we're at prices that we've seen back in January of this year. Okay? So when we're talking about, are you still at a good entry point? Yeah. I mean, listen, all-time chart. Check out the all-time, first off, let's go back. Let's actually look at the 2017 schedule of when we pretty much jumped all the way to 90 cents. During December of 2017, we were trading at 8 cents. Okay, it did over a 10x all the way to the top here. So if we're talking about a 10x from our current prices, because by December, I'm sure that will be at like around 50 cents or something like that, we could expect a $2.50 Stellar or a $3.40 Stellar, all the way up to about $6 plus, with high targets being around $10 for Stellar at the end of this bull run. So when we're talking about near perfect entries, first off, I've talked to you guys about the major support and demand zones. Going back to the weekly chart, right? Because the weekly chart gives us a little bit more of a better understanding about where the major support zones are. The major support zones are at around 27 and almost a half cents. But we officially broke out of this major 50-day MA on the weekly. In fact, here was that major support zone now, 31.3. This is still a major support zone, but on the daily chart, it's not. In fact, on the daily chart now, the major support point is again going back to this major support zone, going all the way back as early as the beginning of September. And even if we go all the way back here, this is a major support zone going back to June. This is also a major support zone that we were pretty much ranging on when we pretty much bounced off of it multiple times back here as well in April before we rose to the top. This is also a major support zone going all the way back to February. So this is actually a pretty decent support zone down at around 31.6. But again, when we're talking about where could you be buying this, what is the best point of entry? Well, we could retest the 50-day MA at about 33 cents. I just think at the current point, it's not too bad of a, risk level to invest in, because we're still trading below, or I should say we're trading between the 200-day MA and the 50-day MA. So until this actually officially breaks out of the 200-day MA at around almost 38 cents, I don't think that we're going to see too much movement on XLM just yet. But I think that this is going to be having an absolute massive bull run, considering the fact that when we go back on the weekly chart and we go back to the bull run going all the way back to 2017. Now, I know that this chart doesn't have too much data flow for the price, but when we're talking about the December lows, we're at 10 cents until we did like a 9x almost. It's actually a 10x almost. So, when we get to December and we address if we could do a 10x or whatever the price may be at that point, we can expect those high targets being targeted at around $2.50 to $5, which is my main target point. So around this point here is where we will look for a major, sell-off event, or maybe even just targeting that in general, because I think XLM has a ton of potential, and we could see that high 10 being targeted depending on, how big the blow-off top is for Bitcoin this year around. But overall, when we're talking about XLM, I think that this is an extremely undervalued gem when we're talking about ISO 222 adoption. Of course, this is a little bit long term overall, but we do know that there's so many companies already utilizing Stellar on a day-to-day basis. So when we're talking about this, when we're talking about ISO 222 adoption, I think XLM is going to be the #1 choice for the P2P sector and retail demand, because XLM is perfectly positioned for that, market. And they're doing incredible things in terms of, massive partnerships happening here and there. And plus, the development happening on the ecosystem is continuing day by day. So this is a great asset at these current levels because it still hasn't had its major move. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that it did do a solid move from the March of 2020 lows, right? We're talking about 28 cents. We're, the run already this year. And this doesn't mean that it's fully finished, because I've seen other runs like this on a lot of other altcoins. But this did a 2,700% of an increase in price. Okay, I think that this still has a lot of juice left in it. I think that we're going to see a run where we pretty much reach that level and go well above and beyond it, going up to these $2.50 to $5 levels, and with even higher targets depending, again, going back to Bitcoin levels. So overall, just to wrap this up, I think that this is a great asset. The P2P market is ready to get disrupted by some, revolutionary technology, and I think XLM has that technology. I think that this is great, especially if you hold XRP. Definitely do more research on XLM. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night, wherever you guys are. It's beautiful. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.